and that is that I reckon Cody Rhodes will return at the Royal Rumble, win the Royal Rumble, and then at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view later on this year in February or March, I reckon that they will introduce a new championship, and this will be a new championship for the Raw brand. A new world level championship. And I think Seth Rollins will win that Elimination Chamber match, and at WrestleMania we will get Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins for that championship, and Cody Rhodes will win it and become a world champion. Now we'll go around and ask everyone what their thoughts are, on this prediction. What are your thoughts, Sol?
Sorry, hang on, head. Vertigo there. Yeah, I mean, what is this going to be? The WWE Galactic Championship? Go from Universal to Galactic? I mean, hey, that's what they want to do. But I mean, why introduce another World Championship when Roman's got two? Wouldn't it be just better to have him lose?
It's how you would get it off Roman, him looking weak before his match, presumably with The Rock.
Oh yes, because the rhetoric is you got to make Roman look strong, make him look strong. You can't make him look weak, man. Make him look strong. Like, yeah, I get the point. Sorry, that's really a buzz. Do what you want to do for him, man. I mean, hey, if Seth wants to, or Cody wants to become world champion, that's the way to go. They're both great guys, both great workers, and are names that can draw people to a brand. But introduce a new. Do you really want to have two world titles on Raw and one for SmackDown?
No. I should clarify this. Unify the two Roman has basically for the match with The Rock.
Okay, I mean,
they already are treating them as one.
Yeah,
but you would figure they would have done that by now. Yeah. Why haven't we done that? Recently. Why would? I don't know.
They just haven't decided yet what they want to do. If they want to separate them or still have them as one, but I think. Hopefully
if they would have done it the night after WrestleMania, because that would have been a big thing to kick off that Raw with after Mania. But the fact that they've kept them around so far, obviously it makes Roman look like a beast if he's got two titles with him. And I understand that. And I feel like they'll keep it two titles until he eventually loses one of them. So maybe he loses one in the Elimination Chamber, or the first thing about this, maybe Chamber. He's in Chamber, he's doing his thing. Rock comes through the grate like Shawn Michaels did to Taker. His one rock bottom. Flees out of there, maybe Rock's in his Black Adam costume that just says funk on it, because that's not happening anymore. Cody pins Roman, takes the W Championship, and introduces the spinner belt back. I mean, hey, I think that would be an excellent idea. Book it.
We're gonna get back to the spinner belt versus winged eagle discussion again now, where everybody under the age of 25 thinks one thing, and then everyone over the age of 25 thinks another. But I agree with you that would be good. But the issue is, and this is the reason why I thought of this prediction, because if let's presume that Kevin Owens versus Reigns is happening at the Rumble, then Sami, in Canada, Sami Zayn versus Reigns will happen at Elimination Chamber. Which means that between now and Mania, it is, unless you do it on an episode of Raw or something, or SmackDown, it's pretty much impossible to take the titles off Roman in a way which, would give either Rollins or Cody the title. And then if you had Sami or Kevin beat him, then it would make him look weak going into the Rock match. So if it was, if it was a multi-man match, it'd be possible. But it's maybe he has to work double duty, but then it would be like, well, why is he now having to defend the title separately instead of, the entire rest of his reign? He's just defended them as one. So I think it's a very difficult one to be able to say. What do you think, Clark?
So I just love this whole concept, and when you let me know that this was your idea, I really loved it, and I immediately dove into, I love wrestling history and little historical perspective. We've seen a scenario like this before when the belts were unified initially in the early 2000s, Chris Jericho, and then Triple H eventually at WrestleMania 18 in the main event after they followed Rock and Hogan. And the belts, the undisputed belts, they eventually came out with one belt, the undisputed title, that was defended on both shows, right? And it was defended on both Raw and SmackDown. And then there was, and I believe someone can fact check me on this date if they'd like, but I believe I'm right on this. In 2004, they brought back Eric Bischoff as Raw general manager. And he At that time, the undisputed title was primarily being defended on SmackDown. I believe it was either Brock Lesnar or Kurt Angle carrying it at that particular moment. And it wasn't really the champion was no longer appearing on both shows. He wasn't on Raw for a stretch of weeks. Eric Bischoff walked out with a briefcase and the big gold classic WCW World Championship and put it on the biggest heel on the roster, Triple H. And it was golden. It started Evolution. The rumblings were there. The pairing of Orton and Batista and Flair were there. It solidified them and their dominance at the time. It played great. It was a time where they brought back a throwback belt. And we've heard Cody Rhodes mentioned his love for the Winged Eagle. It was his favorite belt. And so even more to piggyback off of and we can talk about Spinner versus Winged Eagle. This is a separate conversation from that. I think from a booking standpoint, just strictly from the way. So we've seen Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins 3 times. I could watch him wrestle a million, but I'd like a new reason because Seth is 0-3. And if Seth Rollins jumps his ship, is the newly crowned champion on the Raw brand and beats him to the punch and brings back the Winged Eagle first, is there a bigger slap in the face to Cody Rhodes than that? Is there anything that could get his blood flowing? I mean, that was his idea. That's what he wanted to do. That was his dream. And he's already leaned into the Dusty with the polka dots and all of that. That was all Cody wanted. And for Seth to then just beat him to the punch, now there's a reason for that 4th match. I can forget about the 0-3 because now we're talking, it's personal again.
Yeah.
He went and jumped his idea. He went and beat him to the punch. And I think that part of it is so intriguing to me. And it's one of those things where I love making predictions, and right or wrong, it's funny. I think no matter what, even if it went down to a T exactly as I presented, that's something I would be so entertained by. That is something that is kind of can't miss. I really like the idea of that story.
That would be amazing. When you started saying that, I thought you were going to say, Cody brings back the Winged Eagle himself and it's like crowns himself as champion. And I was like, as a face, that wouldn't really work. Like when you mentioned about Triple H and all that, right, with Eric Bischoff. But then as soon as you said about it being Seth, I'm like, that would just be perfect.
Beats him to it.
That would be brilliant. And then they fight for the title at Mania. That would be storytelling 101. That'd be fantastic. What are your thoughts, Kobe, on all of this? Would you like to see this storyline play out with them introducing a new belt on Raw?
I don't know exactly what the method that they can use is. I think it's something that's needed because you have a 3-hour show and you don't have a top title. I'm not going to say I have a problem with the U.S. title getting put in a spotlight. It is going to be, and it is right now because they are getting Seth and Theory on Raw coming tomorrow. But I think it is like for the 3-hour show to be missing a world championship, it's a big issue, and I'm surprised it's taken them for like this long. I don't know. Like, does Triple H come out on Raw and say, okay, well, if Roman's gonna do that, maybe we do the winner of the Royal Rumble gets the world championship.
Yeah,
that's it. I recently saw the post of the One versus All Roman 2016 Rumble, and I was like, yeah, I dug that. And I think that's something that could come back in terms of, like, I think that would be more prestige because then you can truly build Seth and Cody Rhodes if they're the final 2 or not. Because I think they should, or not the final 2, but I think they should be the first 2 in the Royal Rumble. But I think you can really build that because then again, you don't have to have Rock win the Rumble to face Roman. You don't.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because that's the thing. If you have Cody Rhodes win the Rumble, what is he going to do? You're not going to do Roman Cody, Roman Rock.
I was gonna say
like that. That's why just saying we're going to do a chamber winner faces Cody Rhodes. Yeah, you could do it. I think the more prestigious option is go for the Rumble.
Yeah. No, originally that was actually going to be exactly what my prediction was. My prediction was going to be that it comes down to Cody and Rollins wins the Rumble. But the reason I changed it is because logically to me, it wouldn't make much sense if if the issue is Raw doesn't have a champion and Roman's not turning up to Raw, then it doesn't make sense to have the Royal Rumble be for a Raw championship if it's going to include SmackDown stars too. And otherwise, it'd be like, well, then you've got the exact same issue, and SmackDown suddenly has another title, which is why I said Elimination Chamber. And I feel like if Cody does win it, if Cody does win it,
with the rosters, they can take like say I don't know, Braun Strowman wins the Royal Rumble. They can say, "Oh, you're wrong."
I mean, they could do
that.
That's
not a problem. The draft isn't going to come back until after WrestleMania. I'm pretty fucking sure.
Yeah, it's
going to happen.
It's after Mania.
Like they can do whatever the heck they want with the roster.
They can do. So I don't know.
I think that would add more prestige.
Yeah, but doesn't that get complained about too? The lack of continuity on like all the changes and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, of course, they can do whatever they want. But should they? I guess would be the only response I would have to that. I would say they shouldn't.
I think they would. I think they would. I would say they would say this is the Monday Night Raw champ. I don't want to say they're going to call it the Raw Championship, but this is you are they are going to say it as if you're going to win this championship, you are going to represent Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
and that means you're not like that would mean you're dedicated. You're not. You should be showing up on the brand you represent.
Yeah, they
contractually they can make sense of it.
Yeah,
I think that adds prestige. If you're going to say, "Oh, we're going to have the Raw World Championship be the winner of the Royal Rumble," that adds prestige of having more than just the Raw talent in it because you have the people like Strowman.
Maybe you could have like the WWE Championship, but instead of like nameplates or side plates, you just have the day of the week. So just this is the belt on Mondays.
They have the Raw Women's Championship and the SmackDown Women's Championship. I don't think there's a reason that they shouldn't have the Raw Men's Heavyweight Championship.
Please don't call it that.
Heavyweight Championship.
Please don't.
I mean, I don't necessarily want them to call it that, but call the one on Raw the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Call the other one the WWE Universal Championship. Call it a day, and let's go. Yeah. Let's go home and let's. I mean, the U.S. title isn't being defended on SmackDown. The Intercontinental title is not being defended on Raw. I get the crossover with the tag team titles because the division's thin. I actually would prefer that they eventually down the road, maybe in 6 to 8 months, bring back and go back to the brand split because for the sake of the depth of with all the returns, I think there's enough time on both shows. And I think that there's no reason where they should blend into one show, and especially with the two networks, Fox and USA, wanting slightly different things. They want similar things as far as viewership and whatnot. I think it hurts the long-term storytelling when it's a little bit on both shows, but a lot more on one. Right, the way there's some Bloodline stuff with SmackDown, I think that hurts Raw because you'll see the Bloodline on Raw one week, and then if you miss SmackDown, they're not on Raw the next week, and so. It's right. Like they took up time on Raw that could have been building for something on Raw the following week. And that's, I think, where we need a world title on both brands. I think it makes the most logical sense. And they have the most success with that formula for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with that there. And I mean, the one thing which I would say about the advantage of the only issue I would have about the Rumble being for the title is that Fox might have an issue with it being for a USA branded thing when they're promoting it on Fox. That's where, because Fox and USA, if people don't know this, Fox and USA are really butting heads in the recent. Well, it's been for the last year now. They're really butting heads over things in the product, and the entire thing of the championship's been a big part of why USA have been unhappy at times with WWE. So it would resolve it, but you don't want to annoy Fox either. And then I feel like if Cody was to win the Rumble, then you could tease Cody versus Roman until The Rock returns at a Chamber or something like that. And then from there you can do, Rollins wins and they unveil the title or something, and it is the Winged Eagle. And like Clark suggested earlier,